Hello and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I am Adrian Atkinson. Individuals have been taking advantage of the increase in the de minimis threshold to $100 and the passenger allowance to $1,000 for import and personal items. How has that been going? We speak with the Jamaica Customs Agency. Plus, a roundup of engagements last week by the Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness. There's more, so stay with us.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, November 7, 2024. Some services will be returning to the main building of the Cornwall Regional Hospital by the end of this year. Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, gave that assurance as he responded to questions in the House of Representatives recently.
In 2024, we launched the final phase 3 of the project. That is to realize the full rehabilitation of the building. This is being done, Mr. Speaker, in sections. The first sections of the building to be rehabilitated is the administrative block, with staff being able to be accommodated by this Christmas.
Additionally, he says the contractors have informed that by April of 2025, the Medical Records Department, General Stores, Dietary Department, and server rooms will be fully rehabilitated and operational.
These areas are critical. This is a justification to the proper functioning of the hospital and are being prioritized to ensure that when the full hospital operations are restarted, they can provide the appropriate support to patients and staff in the facilities.
The next section of the building to be rehabilitated is the Accident and Emergency Unit, which should be fully equipped with new CT and MRI machines and brand new amenities by June of 2025. Meanwhile, the Western Children and Adolescent Hospital, which is being constructed on the grounds of Cornwall Regional, is on track for completion in the first quarter of the next financial year.
The Western Child and Adolescent Hospital is on track to be opened officially by the Western Regional Authority by mid next year, between May and June. That's an additional 250 beds, fully equipped. We expect to hire in the first phase over 300 new healthcare workers.
The Western Regional Health Authority has completed the staffing plan for the facility, and a Deputy Chief Executive Officer, Senior Medical Officer, and Consultant Pediatrician have already been employed. At the end of the project, the Western Children and Adolescent Hospital will become the only one of its kind in the Caribbean.
At that location, there will be 800 beds in 2 towers, 1 8th floor, 1 10th, and every single piece of equipment will be new in that facility, making it the highest concentration of hospital beds anywhere in the Caribbean.
All health centers across the island are back to normal operation following the passing of Tropical Storm Raphael. Primary health care services were restored yesterday, and the Ministry of Health is advising patients who may have missed appointments to contact their health centers to reschedule. Meanwhile, the public is advised to continue observing a number of health and safety tips in the aftermath of the storm. These include wearing gloves, water boots, or closed shoes when clearing debris or disposing of dirty water. People who have not been immunized in the last 10 years and have sustained a punctured wound or cut from a nail or other objects should seek immediate medical attention. Additionally, children should not be allowed to play in the water outside. Members of the public can contact the Ministry of Health and Wellness Emergency Operations Center at 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683 for more information. The Jamaica Public Service Company is reporting that it has restored electricity supply to most of its customers who experienced outages as a result of Tropical Storm Raphael. JPS President and CEO Hugh Grant says less than 5% of the company's 692,000 customers lost power due to the adverse weather conditions. Up to Wednesday evening, he says about 10,000 or less than 2% of the company's overall customer base was still without electricity. JPS's president and CEO asserts that the company is continuing its efforts to expedite the restoration of supply to all customers. In the meantime, he indicates that it is still too early to determine the full impact of the tropical storm on the electricity network, saying the company will be in a better position to do so after today. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang says more will be done to improve information sharing across the country's cyber ecosystem. He points out that the Jamaica Cyber Incident Response Team, JA-CERT, already shares vulnerability alerts with the public through its website, but the ministry is committed to taking additional steps to protect citizens from cyber threats.
A prime example of the government's commitment in this regard is the increased budgetary allocation toward the strengthening of the nation's cyber infrastructure. The government is also committed to strengthening the cyber investigative capacity of the law enforcement arm, investing significantly through the Ministry of National Security, Project Pro Cyber.
Dr. Chang was addressing a recent public lecture hosted by the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, and the Mona School of Business and Management. And finally, the Heart NSTA Trust is introducing a series of programs to empower Jamaica's young people through career development, entrepreneurship, and mental health awareness. The initiatives are being rolled out in November as part of Youth Month celebrations. Managing Director of Heart, Dr. Tanisha Ingleton, gave the details at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing.
We have an entire month of activities planned for our youth. And specifically for the Trust, we're going to be starting with our Pandikana activity. The Heart NSTA Trust will be mobilizing its team to be out there with them, to speak to them about the different programs that the Trust has to offer, to help them to get career counseling, and to help them so that they cannot become unattached individuals. We will be right across the island.
Included in the agency's plans is a Build a Business series that will feature workshops designed to introduce young people to wealth creation and entrepreneurship. Through its Skills Swap initiative, trainees from the Hart College of Beauty Services and the Hart College of Construction Services will swap places for a day to challenge traditional gender stereotypes in these fields. In addition to that, young people will get the opportunity to attend a leadership development seminar set for November 28. It will teach them skills such as time management, conflict resolution, and effective communication in the workplace. The Trust will also host an Agri Open Day on November 12 at its Ebony Park Academy, offering young people the opportunity to explore careers in agriculture. For more information on other upcoming initiatives and how to get involved, visit the agency's website at www.heartnsta.org. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
On Finance Matters this week, we talk about the increase in the duty-free threshold on imported personal items of $100 in value and passenger allowance of $1,000. With the details, here's the manager for air cargo at the Jamaica Customs Agency, Kedon Dennis.
The government of Jamaica has increased the duty-free threshold for imported goods and for personal household items. Jamaicans who import goods from overseas are now able to save more money. But how will these changes benefit Jamaicans and improve our economy? Hi, I'm Shaquille Rochester Shorter and welcome to Finance Matters. Joining us today to discuss this is Mr. Kedon Dennis, Manager for Air Cargo at the Jamaica Customs Agency. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow the Ministry of Finance on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, LinkedIn, and now Threads to see all the episodes and highlights. Mr. Dennis, thank you for being on our program today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so explain to us what the increase in the de minimis threshold from $50 to $100 means for Jamaicans shopping online or importing items.
Well, as for the 1st of April 2024, the government increased the de minimis threshold from $50 to $100. What this means is that persons importing items below the value of $100 will pay absolutely no duty.
So tell us about the increase now in the passenger allowance.
Well, as you rightfully say, the passenger allowance was also increased from $500 to $1,000. What it means is that traveling passengers over the age of 18 is entitled to this allowance, and it can be used for luggage accompanying them or any item that was shipped 2 months prior or 2 months after their arrival.
So since we have these increases, have there been an increase in the custom fee?
Well, luckily, there's no increase in the custom fee.
Okay.
But what persons need to remember is that for the de minimis regime, once the value of the goods exceed the de minimis value, which is $100, then full duty is charged on the amount and not just the excess.
So what's the word on the street now? I know that Jamaica Custom Agency has been in the streets and they're getting feedback. What are customers saying? Have you seen an uptake in the number of items being imported?
Well, generally persons are ecstatic for the increase. From where I sit at the airport, I can definitely say there's been an increase in the amount of goods that we see.
But what does that really mean for Jamaican economy?
Well, more goods will mean persons have greater access to items. They can sit at home, shop, enjoy their shopping, and don't worry about paying custom duty once these items fall below the de minimis regime.
Yes, because we now can shop more and buy more items and import more items and live a better and more comfortable life. I am happy that we have this increase.
We are all happy.
I can imagine, right? So what should Jamaicans though remember when they're importing goods?
So generally, duties are charged on the total CIF value of the item. That is the cost of the item plus the insurance plus the freight. However, under the de minimis regime, the FOB value is used. So once the FOB value and the FOB value speaks to the value of the item before insurance and freight is added. Once the FOB value is below $100, then no duties will be charged.
So finally, tell us 3 things quickly that we should remember in light of these changes.
1, once the value of the item exceeds the de minimis value, which is $100, then full duty will be charged on the total value of the item and not the excess. 2, passengers traveling over the age of 18 is entitled to the $1,000 personal allowance. And 3, this allowance can only be used for personal items and not for commercial.
Well, thank you, Mr. Dennis, for coming on our program and telling us about these increases.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of Finance Matters. Remember to follow us on social media at MOF Jamaica and tune in next week as we continue to demystify the economic and fiscal policies and initiatives implemented by the government to empower Jamaicans as we chart a path to Jamaica's economic prosperity.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Here now is a recap of engagements last week by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness.
With the departure of Dr. Nigel Clark as the head of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, a new minister was appointed last week by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness.
The Honourable Favour Williams, MP, will assume duties as Minister of Finance and the Public Service. I have assigned my senior advisor, Mr. Alec John, who is highly regarded for his financial expertise, to work closely with the Minister of Finance, newly minted Minister Favour Williams, as well as with other private sector stakeholders.
The appointment of Minister Williams took effect on Wednesday, October 30, making her the first female to head the Finance Ministry. She is not completely new, though, having served as the Finance Minister of State prior to her ministerial role in education.
I am deeply honored and profoundly humbled to be given this opportunity to be Jamaica's Minister of Finance. Finance is more than balancing the books. It is about ensuring that every resource we allocate, every policy we enact, and every initiative we launch is a step towards a more prosperous and a more inclusive economy.
Dr. Holness says she has the technical competence and practical experience and is someone who will continue the path of fiscal discipline.
The idea, of course, is to ensure that whoever is in the Ministry of Finance is a disciple of the government's policy of fiscal discipline. That is what is really important. I could never put anyone there who is going to in any way depart from the hard-earned gains and sacrifice of the Jamaican people to get us to where we are today. And I'm confident that Minister Williams is a disciple.
With the elevation of Minister Williams, her education and youth portfolios were reassigned.
Senator Dr. the Honorable Dana Morris Dixon will assume duties as Minister of Education, Skills, Youth and Information. Also, the consolidation of the skills portfolio, including heart with education, will help to drive our focus on human capital development and to better integrate technical and vocational skills training into the education system.
Meanwhile, Matthew Samuda was reappointed as Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. He will continue to oversee the areas of water and environmental protection.
These appointments are designed to maintain stability and minimize disruption in the functioning of the government, but at the same time, pivot towards a growth-oriented economic policy, as well as to make a priority and focus of human capital development.
Prime Minister Holness also announced the date for by-election in the constituencies of Northwestern St. Andrew and Southern Trelawney to elect members of Parliament.
Nomination day will be Wednesday, November 6, 2024, and election day will be Friday, November 22nd, 2024, for both constituencies. I encourage all eligible voters to exercise their constitutional right to vote and participate actively in the democratic process.
It was further announced that these dates would also facilitate by-elections to appoint councillors for the Morant Bay Division in St. Thomas and the Anon Town Division in Clarendon.
There is no doubt that Nigel is a special resource for Jamaica, that he has served with great dignity, poise, and confidence.
That was Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness in Parliament last week, Tuesday, as the House paid tribute to Dr. Nigel Clark, who tendered his resignation as Minister of Finance. He acknowledged Dr. Clark for his contribution to the government and the people of Jamaica.
I'm very pleased to have been associated with you, Nigel. I'm very happy to have had the opportunity to work with you to get all of what we have accomplished done. But I've always known that Nigel's skills and his service is not always going to be local in focus. There are other countries that need to benefit from the experience of Jamaica.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness was at King's House for the swearing-in of Justice Chantal Onaniwu as judge of the Caribbean Court of Justice (CCJ). She is the second Jamaican to hold that office. Dr. Holness described the appointment as an extraordinary achievement.
Her journey is a testament to dedication, resilience, and a remarkable pursuit of excellence that has brought her to this esteemed position on the bench of the Caribbean Court of Justice.
Over in St. Catherine, Dr. Holness assured residents of the St. Andrew Northwestern communities of Akiwalk and Jacksontown that the government was taking steps to regularize their land ownership. As he addressed a town hall meeting in the area, the Prime Minister informed that they would be assisted in obtaining titles for properties they have lived on for several years.
So the process today is to bring together all the entities of government that can solve this problem of your title to the land.
Closing out the week of activities, Prime Minister Holness met with representatives from the Lupus Foundation of Jamaica. The team expressed gratitude to the government for its support to persons suffering from the disease, one of which is the subsidy of medication through the National Health Fund, NHF.
We looked at the number of persons suffering from lupus, the fiscal impacts on the fund itself, and it was a bit prohibitive relative to all other diseases and the numbers that are affecting the cost of the drugs for other diseases. But we decided that we would go ahead and help those persons.
Dr. Holness also met with officers and representatives from the Department of Correctional Services. The Prime Minister was updated on measures in place to facilitate reintegration of offenders into society.
I will always maintain that offenders ought to be punished. But punishment is not the end, it's not the resolution. Restoration is the ultimate end of the wrong or a conflict. And the custodial services, correctional services, the ultimate end of their work is restoration.
And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Up next, how the Digital Jamaica project is positioning the country to becoming a digital society. This is geared towards several sectors, including education and micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, helping them improve their business processes with the integration of technology. Let's get the facts.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. Today we're discussing a digital economy for Jamaica, where micro, small and medium-sized enterprises are empowered to include digital transformation in all aspects of their businesses through the Digital Jamaica project. For this discussion, we have with us Mr. Harold Davis, Deputy Chief Executive Officer at the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, JBDC, to tell us about the project. Mr. Davis, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
All right, let's jump into getting some facts.
Sure.
Now, to start, I like the definition at the start. The Digital Jamaica project, what is it?
All right, so the
and why is it? Yes.
Well, Jamaica has committed to moving its economy into a digital economy, yeah? Okay. And that is one of the commitments from our government. So the Digital Jamaica project supports that initiative basically by providing 9.5 million euro of funding towards support directed to the ICT sector, education sector, and the MSME sector. Basically pushing along the government's agenda for digital economy.
Okay. So we're transforming these sectors to make more use of digital processes, products.
All of the above. All of the above. Digital literacy, starting right there. Digital availability and accessibility is a major issue as well. And basically the world has become a digital space. For Jamaica to participate in the global economy, we have to move to have our country digitally enabled.
Right. It's about finding and keeping our space.
Don't it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You mentioned the euros. What's the figure again of the funding?
The complete funding is 9.5 million euro.
Where's that from?
From the EU.
From the EU?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, your work at the JBDC, we're focusing on MSMEs for a bit, right? And I'm curious about this. And we have heard a lot about this transformation, and always the statement comes data-driven.
Absolutely.
So what's the data saying about the MSMEs and their readiness to not just adopt new tools, but transform the entire way they do business?
Right. Well, as you know, JBDC is a data-driven organization. We don't make a move unless we do our data analysis. We go in the marketplace and see exactly what's going on.
Right.
So we did a survey. We did a survey to assess the existing situation in our economy for our MSMEs. And what we found was that there were varying levels of readiness of our MSMEs. The figure pointed to a 33% of MSMEs who actively are aware of the benefits of digitalization and digital transformation and actively use that.
Right.
Now, to be honest, 33% is very modest. It's way below what we would want to see, with our MSMEs. Quite frankly, I want to see upwards of 80% of our MSMEs. Yes, man. We have to be audaciously ambitious.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? Because the world, as I said before, has transformed into a digital space. And for our MSMEs, in order for you to do business, both locally and globally, soon it's not a nice to have. It will be a need to have your digitally transformed operations, So it's very important. But unfortunately, or it's not even unfortunately, but it is what it is. 33% of our MSMEs, and those who utilize they express their comfort level in terms of the utilization of digitalization and digital products. Of that 33%, really most persons have a presence on social media, Instagram, your Facebook, and things of that nature. And not a lot of them are using the digital solutions to really transform the belly of the organization in terms of their processes and your supply chain management and your financial transactions and things of that nature.
Pretty much the whole thing.
Pretty much the whole thing. Right. So we have a little ways to go, to be honest. You know what I mean? But the data is what it is, and our ambition is to move that needle to a point where a significantly higher level of our MSMEs are aware and cognizant and utilizing and leveraging the digital tools and economy to their benefit.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll bring you another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via X at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.